All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had an amazing day yesterday to start off the week. Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm doing great. Hopefully, you and the rest of the room are as well.
Excellent, excellent. All right, guys, let's get into it. We have a bit of a nice gappers list this morning already. A lot on here, few in the red. But before we do that, let's check out what the SPY's doing and just kind of go through our market pulse and see what's happening there.
Yeah, so roughly up a third of a percent right now. I mean, this is all just really Corona news flow. So, nothing too specific. There's a couple of vaccine hopes. We'll dive into that in a minute. I think that's given it a little bit of a push as well. Slew of different economic data and speakers today. We've got CPI and core CPI just came out. I have not seen the print on that yet. That at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 5 p.m., we have various Fed presidents speaking. So that 9 a.m. one might actually move things. Neil Kashkari out of Minneapolis tends to do that quite a bit. So we'll see. Should be an interesting day. Looks like we've got some good things to trade.
All right, excellent. Yeah, it should be interesting. And yesterday was a tough day. I gotta say, the open was not easy. There was two stocks that I wish I would have looked at closely. And again, we haven't been doing our top place and highlight for the previous day in a long time. But man, I gotta say, BYND was so clean yesterday. Unfortunately, I was playing around with some other stuff on there instead of this one. This one traded amazing, and the other one was Microsoft. Another one also that again had a nice little pop at the open. I'm sure there was more, but at least these two, they were really clean. Nice opening range breakups on this one, and you got some continuation, which has been a little bit hard to find lately to get these continuations going. As we saw in AMC, and we saw yesterday also. What was the other one? I believe it was BA or so. But again, just not a lot of continuation going on some of these stocks. So let's hope today for a better, cleaner open, and let's see how things develop here. So let's start with what's gapping down this morning. The first one on here is
And
empty.
I
Yeah.
wanted one thing that I forgot. I got to the speakers and I meant to say it. And thank you, Gary A, in the chat for reminding me. So, Dr. Fauci is going to be speaking, I believe, to the Senate at some point today. He's saying 10 a.m. So I'll double check that. But Gary's usually pretty accurate on that.
Yeah.
I'd imagine he's probably correct. So that could move things as well.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. What he's doing, he's giving a report of things. What is the conversation about?
They asked him, yeah, he's going to wear a mask, I believe, Peter, and under certain protocol. But um, he's not necessarily infected, but he was in contact with somebody that has been. They're going to be. It's just a Senate hearing about corona response and what's going on.
Gotcha. So we'll look forward to that around that time frame. See what how the markets react to that conversation. So let's start here with our gapping down list. We had MT gapping down 2%, but this one's a foreign stock, so we'll skip on that one. Next on here we have TLRY. So this one also very active, and I know they had some stuff coming out yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, they had earnings last night, and their revenue was way up, saying they're not being affected by the coronavirus or anything like that. But they had a bigger loss than expected. So that's
Yeah.
what's going on there.
So here you got a nice big drop after hours yesterday. You can see trying to recover a little bit here, trying to get back towards that previous day close line. But for the most part, not as much volume as I would expect after having earnings on this stock here. Only 171,000. We'll definitely take a look at it, see if it gets any better. But overall,
I've mentioned it before, but
yeah.
leave it to the government to find how to make a way to make drug dealing not profitable.
Exactly. Absolutely. So again, not as much volume as I'm seeing here. Pretty shocking, really. So we'll see how it gets any better. If not, we'll dump it. Here we have next GNFT this morning. This one it
It's
is.
a foreign biotech.
Yeah.
It's French, and the daily is horrendous on it, especially if you zoom out. They had, I believe, a
Oh
failed
man.
trial.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and just look how bad this daily is, and then look at the volume. I mean, none of these days here, going back now to August of last year, have been over 1 million shares. So again, something like that, guys, which is, even if the flow is good, 40 million shares flow with that type of volume, just don't want to be involved in anything like that. So it looks good, down 66%, some 233,000 shares, but overall nothing else is clicking for the stock. So we're going to skip on this and go over to our massive gappers list this morning. The first one on here is going to be NVAX, which is up quite a bit, over 40% right now, 1.8 million shares traded on this one so far. So a nice big gap up. Had a big day yesterday as well. No, I'm assuming they have some news behind it. Looks like the action yesterday happened after hours.
Yeah, they had two things. They had earnings last night, and they had they didn't have as big of a loss as expected, but they also got just shy of $400 million in funding for a COVID vaccine possibility. So that's what it's popping on this morning.
All right, gotcha. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this one, guys. Right now, some really good volume, some really good activity after hours last night. As you can see here, with a nice big pop, and we're kind of holding that for the most part right now. After a good day, also as well. In the intraday as well, you can see here had a nice uptrend day yesterday also. So we'll keep an eye on it. Next on this list, NNVC. This one is up also huge, 30%, 766,000 shares traded. Pre-market activities looking okay, not as clean as we would like to see for that type of volume. But we got a nice big pop here today. What's the float on this? 4.24. I noticed the volume down here is very, very, very light, guys. So this is a low flow stock. We're gonna throw it down here for the low flow team. So NNVC down here up pretty big at the moment. Let's go over to MGNX. So MGNX right now, this one is up 16.3, also 209 at the moment. This was 47 million shares flow. The daily's a little interesting though. Had a nice big pop there a couple of days ago. Consolidation, another big run up yesterday as well. And today we're gapping up again. So let's go back and see how this stock has been trading. Norm, I'm not sure if you had any news on this, but yesterday with no volume, it did manage to get going here, which is a little scary when you are moving like that with almost no volume at all.
They have positive info on I believe it's a drug, a drug for breast cancer, breast cancer drug. So that's what's popping up.
All right, worth watching, guys. I mean, has been very strong. This is going from $7 all the way up to 30. Again, that's a very, very big move in just about 4 to 5 days. So again, this stock is very strong. I will put this down here as a low flow stock just because you want to watch the ATR on this one. I think it's gonna be a big mover. But we'll see how it plays out. If we're going to keep it, we'll definitely put it in a place that we know that with this one, you really have to watch your number of shares, that this thing could move quite a bit. Right now, you're high, $3 low of the pre-market, and 30 at pre-market low and 33 at pre-market high. But if you look at some of these candles, they're $1 or $2 easily. So you want to be extra cautious with something moving the way that is. We have UPWK. UPWK up 13.2, 204,000 shares traded. Pre-market's a little bit all over the place for right now. Has had a couple of good days, but the volume seems a lot lighter on the lighter side here, barely getting over 5 million shares on a regular normal basis. So no, I'm not sure what the news is on this one, but is this something worth keeping an eye on?
They actually had a pretty decent pop yesterday. I think it's continuation on that. I don't see any significant news on it. This is a company that will benefit from work at home. So the more that that's extended and people think that we'll shift to that, they might see a benefit from it.
Okay, excellent. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Just want to see how it traded yesterday. Had a nice big pop. Let's just look at how the intraday action was. And you did get some movement here with some erratic volume. So no volume, then it comes in, you get a nice little pop here. Then it dies out again. But even with very low volume, it's able to crawl its way back up to almost to the highs of the day. So again, I'm not a fan of it at the moment. I think a lot of the stuff we're seeing on it doesn't look all that great. We'll throw it on there, see what we can get out of it. But for the most part, just looking at what we have at hand, it's not the best trading stock right now. But I do love that pop. I love how strong it was yesterday. Let's see if that can continue today. Here we have BCRX. Seems like today we have all the stocks that are not low flow stocks. but has some really weird daily and price actions. Here's another one up 10.3, 416. Not the greatest pre-market activity, but for the last couple of days has had some really strong days here, getting out of $4. So again, not really our style for the most part. Trading really on the lower side of the volumes. We had a couple of days here after April where we are hitting 28 million shares traded, but just look how choppy this daily has been. So hasn't been pretty clean. Just want to go back and see what the intraday looks like yesterday. And again, this is not that clean trading here. Without looking at the price action, this looks to be very choppy the way these candles are being formed. You're not getting a lot of range. Besides this pop in the morning here, overall, you're not getting a lot of range here. So, Norm, unless you have something else interesting on this one, I'm going to skip on this one for right now.
They're popping on positive news on a COVID drug test in Brazil, I think.
Okay. Are there a foreign stock as well?
No, they're not. It just test happened to be in Brazil.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm going to skip on that one, guys. Let's look at SPG right now. So SPG is up 11%, 141,000 shares traded at the moment. This is a 303 million shares flow. Pre-market action is starting to get going right now. Doesn't look all that great. You can see, although we have 142,000, that 142,000 has not been trading clean. This candle sitting with the most of it right now for this morning. The daily, though, does look a little bit better. You have a nice flow in the daily here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a REIT. This is Simon Property
Yeah,
Group, which
yeah.
is the largest owner of malls in the country, and they're going to start opening malls.
Yeah, so they know that could be a good
But
catalyst.
having said, yeah, it could be. But having said that, as a REIT, they usually
Yeah, they
trade
don't trade.
terribly.
Yeah, they don't trade well at all, guys. So again, could be a possible for maybe later in the afternoon, depending how good the news is and how great they decide to move. But this is not the best trading stocks that we have discussed in the past. And if you look deep into their into the intraday trading, you can see how choppy they can be. And for the most part, not getting great continuation. Here's another one, DDOG, another one as well with low volume. Had a couple of good days the last 3 days or so. They're up 9.3, 183,000 shares traded. I don't think we ever seen this stock here before in our watch list. Again, just not a fan of these type of stocks. Yeah, I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, we've had this.
Oh, I don't
We've had
remember.
this.
Yeah.
They,
So,
they had earnings after hours last night. They just absolutely killed it. So
okay, so they got some good
it
earnings here.
is. Yeah. Yep. And they've got it's a cloud computing. So once again, work from home. Big upside
Yeah,
potential
yeah.
on that one. Go in the distant future. I'm not saying on an intraday basis like we trade, but
Right, right.
that's why it's popping this.
All right, so we'll definitely take a look at it, guys. Again, pre-market's not looking all that great right now. It's a lighter volume trading stock as well. A lot of stocks this morning under that 5 million shares traded for the most part. But today they had a big day. Yesterday they had a big day trading over 10 million. So we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see how that develops. Next, we have Mac. Let's take a look at Mac this morning. This one here, not the greatest pre-market, 212,000 shares traded right now. It is up 8.1. The daily has seemed to be consolidating, creating a beautiful base here. But overall, these candles are not the greatest when it comes to what I'm looking at right now here on the daily. So not sure, Norm, any news on this one, or this is just gapping up with the
It's
market?
another REIT.
Okay.
Same thing, shopping centers.
All right, so shopping centers definitely on the move today. Again, reopening and hopefully starting to get back on track here. So this is another one. We'll throw it on here. Again, doesn't trade, no, right next to SPG actually. So we'll throw it on here. See what, again, these seems to be hot today. So let's see if later in the morning one of these gets a little bit better. Maybe we could watch something in that sector. Again, we don't usually trade those type of stocks. They don't trade all that well. But today could be their day. You know, if they have good positive news of possibly opening up some of these malls again and start to get some of that revenue back, they could get something going here. DKNG, this one, it seems to be a recent IPO. Just opened up last month. We don't have a lot of history on it. For the most part right now, they're up 8%, 200,000 shares traded. This is DraftKings. Wait a minute. Wasn't DraftKings opened up before this? I'm not getting any more history. Or it was conversations?
No, so technically, DraftKings just went public. I believe it was in mid-March. We'll get to another company like this in a little bit that's on down the list.
Yep.
But this isn't technically new. It was acquired by a shell company, created and traded for the sole purpose of acquiring DraftKings. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting info. They have it's too fresh, really. I won't put it on my list. I think with just casinos opening, stuff like that. that's what's popping them. Sports coming back, everything else.
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely won't have this one either. Again, there's not a lot of history on here. Again, not saying that it's not tradable, but for the most part, I'm just gonna skip on this one for right now. Let this thing build up some history here so we can look at it and make good decisions on. So let's look at VTIQ. This morning we looked at
And
Mac, we looked at
the
ST.
float is not accurate on DraftKings. I don't know what it is, but 15 million is or 15,000 is not accurate.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely cannot be correct there. Actually, I skip SDC. Let's go back to SDC here before we move on. So SDC this morning, they are up 6.6, 284,000. Good day yesterday, guys. So you can see her nice big pop, but overall, right now, pre-market is looking pretty light. But what I like about this one is a possible continuation. And if you look at the daily, we're hitting this area here. We're getting slightly above this our most recent high before this drop here back in what's that? February, I believe. Yeah, February. So this is worth watching. Hopefully, we can get some good continuation. Let's look at how it traded yesterday. You did get a nice little bounce here off of VWAP and it continue after that. So could be a good one to watch. Definitely want to keep an eye on it for a possible continuation this morning. We do got some good volume. Pre-market pretty choppy at the moment. Norm, what's the latest and greatest on this one right now?
They report this week, not today. I don't believe. I think it's tomorrow. Tomorrow after the market closes. I think this is predominantly a short squeeze. They had some good news about a week ago, I think, and they started moving up, and they've got really high short interest. And I think people are trying to bail before earnings.
All right, gotcha. So definitely worth watching, guys. Again, yeah, they're definitely moving quite a bit before earnings, so it's interesting to see what's happening there. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. Let's look at VTIQ. VTIQ here. This one is wow, nice couple of big days here for VTIQ. It is a 25 million shares flow, so it is a little bit on the lower side at the moment when it comes to a flow.
So
Yeah.
this is not a real company.
Oh, it's
How I was
not.
talking about a shell company. Yeah, no, this is a shell company that's made to acquire car maker Nikola Motors, I believe, in the future. So it's popping, but I wouldn't trade it. It's just too. It's the same thing that I was talking about DraftKings.
Yeah, yep, yep. Okay, excellent. Yeah, and even it's funny, guys. Even without knowing that information, you can tell here on the daily. Look how wild this is. Look at the volume as well. Again, it's just one that you don't want to keep an eye on. So we'll move past this one. AMC yesterday, man, this gave us a tough time trying to get to that VWAP after a drop. Sure gave me a tough time. So here we have a. Right now, it is up 4.5, 529. So for the most part, gapped up pretty good and just gave it all back yesterday, finding some support around the previous highs we had here on AMC. So today, pre-market access is a little bit all over the place. We do have 530. This could be going for a continuation today, guys. So I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on it. Again, it was a great short yesterday. It was a little bit tough during the middle of the day here. Where was it? Yeah, right in here again, just gave us a tough time. Finally did make the move, but again, here it just got pretty choppy in this area. So we'll see. We'll see what comes out of AMC. Again, big range day yesterday, gapped up big. Even with this gap up, even after giving some back, it was still pretty strong for the day. And the fact that, it was up almost 40%. So today they're up over their most recent highs here. Look at the move here, going from 4 to 6 and then ending up at 540 or so. So still worth watching this morning. Let's see if they're going to get some really good volume and trade well today. Here's UAA, another one that was also active yesterday. Let's see how this ended up this morning. So they are up 4% right now. Again, yesterday pretty much a flat day. You kind of got the range of your highs and lows, but pretty much ending right where the previous day close was. Today they're gapping up a bit over at 3.9. Now this pre-market action though, this is pretty bad. Right now 157, but really nothing going on for our UAA. So this type of pre-market action, guys, I won't even put on my list. So I'm going to skip it for now. If it does get better, throw it back out to us. But for the most part, this is not looking great at all.
They had earnings, and I'm actually surprised they're up as much as they are because the earnings were pretty terrible.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah, that's true. These earnings, man, you just never know. You just never know how much is already, baked in some of these drops sometimes, and then when the news is not as bad as bad, it still gaps up, right? So it's very difficult to trade that type of stuff. UA is another one, guys. It's also part of Under Armour. Again, this one has a little bit less volume for the most part. If you're going to trade this stock, UAA will be the one to go with. We have our cruise line here, the only one this morning, NCLH. No CCL today, no airlines for right now. So again, pretty quiet in those two areas that we've been watching very closely. Here's NCLH. At the moment, they're up 2.6, 450 right now. I do like the base they have here. Again, this has been a very, very strong support for NCLH. CCL also has a good support everywhere. It does not like to go below this. The minute it does, it pops back up, at least for the last couple of days. So we'll keep an eye on NCLH. It's the only cruise line we have here today. I'm just going to check what CCL is doing right now, see if there's anything happening there. They do got some volume, but for the most part, only sitting at 1.5, but they will be hitting our scanners for what it looks like if they can get above 2%, which looks to be happening pretty soon. All right, guys, let's look at Tesla, last one on our list, and then we'll go over to the chat and see what you guys like this morning. Tesla here, it is up 2.3, 240,000 shares traded at the moment. Again, this stock continues to be strong. I'm going to remove some of these levels. We'll do some fresh ones here. I really like the way this is setting up on the daily for Tesla. So let's take a look at Tesla later and do some levels for right now. Pre-market action is looking good, and also the daily is looking very good. Like we want to head back up here and retest some of these levels here. So I like the way Tesla's looking this morning. Norm, what do you like on your end so far?
I'm still looking, man. I'm still looking. I kind of do like the NVAX. It's not really what I trade, but I might venture into that with a very small something in a little bit. I do like Datadog, DDog. NVIDIA's at an all-time high.
NVIDIA, we haven't checked that one out in some time. Let's take a look at NVIDIA this morning. This has a couple of strong days here, man. This looks good. Yeah, I like NVIDIA. I'm going to add NVIDIA to our list as well.
And I apologize. I had to turn my camera off. I had to stand up. I don't have a standing desk. So trust me, you don't want to see the shot of me right now. I've got a cramp in my leg, so I've got to stand and do this.
You're doing the dance right now, huh? Oh, good, man.
Well, I mean, the camera's pointed right at the middle of my body right now. So
no, I agree.
I'm not gonna broadcast that.
We thank you. All right, guys, let's take a look at our chat. What do we have? Daniel C is giving us Baba this morning. Let's take a look at Baba right now. Baba has a great, interesting daily. Baba is tough to trade though. It's one of those stocks that it could be not a hit or miss. It's more of a stock that you really have to know how it moves. There's some stocks that have their own little characteristic when it comes to price action and movement, and this is one of them. And if you don't know how this stock moves, you can pay the price pretty dearly. So right now the pre-market action seems to be a little bit all over the place. I see what you're looking at. Their daily seems to want to get above this area of heavy resistance for the last couple of days around this range here. They dropped down a bit. We're back above that now and slightly up over 1%. But right now the volume is a little bit lighter and the pre-market is not looking all that great. It could get better. And we're only up over 1%. So I'm going to put it down as a possible just because I want to see how that's going to look a little bit later. I'm going to make some room here and we'll come back to that one. Let's look at SQ, possible breakout. Let's take a look at that. SQ this morning, see what we have going on. So SQ right now, yeah, potential breakout. This daily setting up lovely. You have higher highs and higher lows being created here. You can see we're banging our heads against this heavy resistance here around, what is that, 176 pre-market. This will be a good possible for later on today. Right now I'm not seeing anything too explosive in regards to pre-market action, but the daily technicals are looking pretty good for a possible pop above this area or some heavy rejection. So again, I think this is good. And also if you go back a little bit, you can see how that area has been support for these days here, support for this area here as well. You have, look at the range here on these days. Some really pretty big range before we had the massive drop here. Some pretty big range, and all ending up with this support line here. For the most part, that is now your area of resistance. So again, a great technical level there. If that can get going, that could be a pretty nice trade. Tesla is up 2% now. Let me see Tesla. Oh yeah, Tesla is looking good. It's going. It's starting to get going here. So Tesla is definitely active. And if you look at the daily again, I think the daily looks very good for Tesla. It's just I'm still unbelievable how this stock has been. Just insane. We hit what, 360 after hitting 900, right? Obviously, and now we're back up to 800. It's just incredible what this stock is doing. It'll be it's a nightmare, I'm sure, for investors to hold, but man, this stock is so strong. Here's Apple, guys. Apple's also been pretty good. A nice run up, hitting up to 320 right now. So again, we have some good movement on Apple, slowly but surely crawling to higher highs here, and the pre-market is starting to look pretty decent too. So although they're not up a whole ton right now, their pre-market action looks very active. So I'm going to add this on here. Again, they're not up even 1% right now, but their pre-market, I do like the way it's set up. And also they have had a couple of pretty strong days on Apple. So we'll take a look at that. What do we have here? Work. Is Tesla too high? Samer's asking me if Tesla is too high. I don't think anything is too high for Tesla, to be honest. The way the way we've seen that stock trade, there's nothing too high. It'll probably be at 1,500 in about 3 weeks or so. But that does not mean you take it long here, guys. I'm not saying that. So work right now, guys. What was that?
I was just saying your Tesla at 1,500 is not investment advice.
No, it's not. Exactly. It's not investment advice. So here, guys, work is, I'm not seeing great pre-market action, pretty low on volume. So I'm going to skip on this one right now for the moment. The QDEL, we saw this active yesterday as well. Had a nice big pop. Today, they're active again, trying to get over 100,000. They're down 2% at the moment. What's the float on this one? I just want to check what the float is on this bad boy here. QDEL, their flow sitting at 37. Okay, yeah, let's look at it. Let's look at QDEL. Let's take a look at that. SPG and MAC, and we have those two, Kirk, so they're on there. Z at the moment pretty light on volume. A couple of 3 really nice days here with some pretty decent movement overall. And I know they were wild yesterday. I know yesterday they were hitting the scanners, and we saw this crazy pop come out of nowhere. And again, here's an example, guys, where you don't have nothing happening in the pre-market at all. I mean, zero volume. And look at the pop here, right? Now, again, I'm always concerned when these stocks move like this with lighter volume than usual. Again, just got to be careful with this one. But the same situation can happen today, guys. There's no volume at all, and this could be one that is in play. So if you like to, if you have the space, you have the real estate to put this on your watch list, definitely do so. But I'm going to skip on this one for the most part right now. All right, 2 more, mRNA and AMD, and then we'll look over in our YouTube chat, see what's going on in there. mRNA right now continues to just rip higher, man. This stock now sitting at the high of the pre-market, almost 70 for the most part. So very active pre-market, worth watching. I think this is one that has been really, really strong over the last couple of days. Let's look at it. I did not have it on my watch list yesterday. I want to look at how it traded in the intraday activity yesterday. So let's just go back here and see what we got going on. So again, look at this crazy pop here. So nice big pop, and then you got a good continuation out of this one. Beautiful continuation. So you got a nice big pop, a little bit extended here. You get a slight pullback, but overall, that's a tough trade to get in there after such a big 5-minute candle. But you can see here, you did get a great continuation, get a pullback here. This is a good entry to rip higher, and look how nice this trade. So again, I think mRNA traded very well yesterday. That's a very clean move, and also traded well the day before that, so on Friday. So yeah, mRNA is definitely hot right now, with some pretty good movement towards the top. It is all-time high as well, I would assume. If not, it's at least 52-week high. All right, so we'll keep an mRNA here. The next one we saw was AMD, right? AMD, beautiful day yesterday. Also ended the day strong. It is gapping up 1.2. I like AMD the way it's setting up on the daily today. I know Andrew was looking at this one yesterday also. Again, this is looking really, really nice right now for a possible run up or continuation here today. The volume is not where we usually like to see it. 700 plus is usually an amazing volume for AMD, but 415 is not bad. Let's not be picky. All right, let's take a look at our YouTube chat. What do we have here? So we have Mark. Let's take a look at that. This one is up 23% with 8.7. Now this is what kind of company is Remark Holdings? What was that?
It's a penny stock.
It's a penny stock, right? So again, flow is it's funny. Flow is at 37, but overall it's still not a great stock to trade. It's a penny stock, guys. Trading under, look at this, under 50 cents for the most part. We usually don't get involved in these type of stocks.
Not that this can't be traded. It's just not what we trade.
Yeah,
not what we focus on.
Exactly. So you gotta find what your niche is and what works. And our style, our strategies do not work well with these type of stocks. All right, NIO and Uber. I'm sorry, INO. This one here is down 1%, 2% right now, 682. Again, this stock, guys, we've seen it be very, very explosive, but it's such a difficult stock to trade. Yesterday had a little breakout here as well. It comes back to the view, it just wraps around. Then for the most part, the entire day, you do get a run up, but again, I'm just not sure how clean that was. It's a very difficult stock to trade, guys. I'm not going to have it on my list. I think we have some pretty other good ones that are on this list here. So I'm going to skip on this one. Let's see what else we have. Let's look at Roku, our good old friend. Yes, Roku is looking great on the daily as well. Another potential one that has been pretty strong. It's funny, every time even on the gap downs that it has had, it has found a way to get back up here, right? It hasn't really put in a right candle even with their gap down days here. So that's interesting. They're up over 1%. They're starting to get some volume, and we know Roku could be trade so well. So guys, I have to stop here because I am out of space. So we will move over to announcements, and then we will go through this list and get rid of some of the ones that are not looking great, and then we'll keep some of the ones that are looking good this morning.
Don't you wish we could take some of these and like put them in our pocket or a drawer and then pull them out in about 6 months when we've got 2 on our gappers and the day sucks?
Absolutely.
Anyway, that having been said, just repeating that we have launched our podcast at Bear Bull Traders Podcast, Talk with Traders. You can find it by searching any of your favorite podcast platforms. Just search Talk with Traders. Should be on there. We've got some fresh content we're working on right now. Should be out very soon. There's a couple we have loaded up that are ready to go right now as well. So take a look at that. Success webinar this week. Mike B is talking about creating a trading business plan. And then for the psychology webinar tonight, man, I'm losing track of the weeks. I can't believe it's the middle of the May. He'll be doing his module 3, importance of discipline in trading. Speaking of Mike, join him, Peter Bryan, for our closing bell on Wall Street show, 3:30 to 4:15 p.m. each afternoon, live streamed on YouTube from the chat room. Check them out. They have fun. Talk about market conditions, any earnings right after the bell, any of that. If you're watching us on YouTube, would like to give the chat room a try, you can do so at a discount. Use the promo code PREMARKET24. Get a discount for 1 week in the room. That's 7 calendar days, 5 trading days. It also gives you access to our onboarding class that happened last night. I had a good show, good turnout for that. So thank you, everybody, for coming, and I hope you got the most out of it. Now we also have released our promo for May. This is 40% off a lifetime, the single payment membership. Use the promo code PODCAST when you check out for either with or without DAS, and you'll get 40% off the lifetime membership.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm, for that. All right, guys, let's get into this list. Let's go through it. We have a lot on here, but I know there's some ones that look horrible. TLRY, as much as I like what's going on here with their news and everything, I'm not sure I'm going to keep this one, guys. Again, just not seeing a whole lot of a great volume at the moment. They're down 2.8. Let's come back to it. NVAX, man, this is taking off. Norm, I know you were thinking about taking a trade here, so I hope you did. Because this is looking pretty good, and hopefully you didn't miss it while doing announcements. Here's the MGNX at the moment. This one is looking okay, guys. This is up 14%. Also been pretty strong the last couple of days, so I definitely want to keep an eye on this one. Also, here's Upwork. Man, I can't watch all this many stocks. So Upwork, I think I'm gonna remove Upwork right now. For the most part, again, I think it could be a decent stock for the most part, but again, just gotta be a little bit picky here with what I watch on this list. DDOG, we'll keep an eye on. SDC, this one I'm gonna remove right now because the volume is a little bit in the pre-market all over the place. So I'm gonna take this one off for now. Actually, no, I like this one. The reason why is because you could possibly short squeeze, guys. Look at the gap we're looking to close here. I got to keep this one. AMC, so-so. NCLH, so-so. Tesla is good. NVIDIA is decent. Apple is good. QDEL, I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to take that one out of the way. mRNA, man, has been so strong. It's not an easy stock to trade. It's got some great volume. Let's see what that does there. AMD, I think I'm going to remove AMD as much as I like that one. We just got to get rid of some here, guys. We have plenty that are moving with some really good volume, but we just got to get rid of some. The only reason I'm getting rid of Roku, everything looks good here, is because the volume is up below 100,000. So I'm just starting to be picky because we need to reduce this list. So let's go back to the top. TLRY starting to get going. Looks like it wants to go red to green here. I'm gonna remove this one, guys. I want to see this in our scanners. NVAX is strong. We'll keep an eye on that one. MGNX, this one up 14% is okay. Upwork, I'm going to keep only two of these, only one of these, excuse me. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Upwork. Upwork looks a little bit better. I'm going to remove MGNX. Let's remove that one from the list. DDOG is a good possible. I'm going to bring it down here. They have some potential, but at the moment, they're not looking all that great pre-market wise. It's kind of pretty much moving sideways right now. They have some pretty good volume, but overall, a lot of that volume sitting on a couple of candles by themselves right now. So we'll move that down just to get a little more room to breathe here. SDC, pre-market here looks a little bit bland, but it has potential, guys. Strong day yesterday. We talked about the possible squeeze. We'll keep that one. AMC, I'm on the fence on. If hopefully trades better than what it did yesterday. NCLH is okay. Tesla is good. Nvidia, Apple is good, and mRNA. Okay, we have a decent list. Still very, very big, but at least we have something to work with when it comes to levels. All right, NVAX. This one, guys, ripping higher right now. It's hitting 42. Low of the pre-market 30.55. Your high right now sitting at a 42.75. So we'll mark that down. Let's go over to the left. See if we have any levels within this huge high and low gap that we have here. And we do. Going back to early last year, February, we do have a drop right in here around 37. Just going to zoom into this sector and see what we have around here that can be some good levels. So 37.52, a great level here. You can see the support happening there. Nice change in direction. Look at this 42.75 is your at your last area, your most recent area of resistance is that 42.75 where we're losing some momentum right now. Slightly above that, you do have a level here at 46.65, and then above that, you do have 48.80. So this stock is no stranger to being up to these pretty nice double digits here around 48.50 easily. So towards the bottom of this 37.52. In here, guys, this is a great level also. This 40 bucks, you can see here, 40.03 or so. You can see right now that you have several days bouncing off of that, creating a beautiful support and resistance. So I'm going to mark that down. And then below this 37.52, we do have a level here down at 34.24 as well. So I'm going to zoom in a little more here. All right, let's just zoom in here. This is what we have so far. So we got some pretty good levels. You can see in the pre-market as well how some of these levels have been, being a part of the pre-market action right now. Look at this 34.24 support, 37.52 resistance, and you also have here a 40.03, an area where you lost some momentum as well, and your 42.75. So if you go back like we did to the left, you can see that we picked these levels off from the daily, but you can see how the pre-market action is also respecting these levels as well. So this stock very strong right now. If we lose this low of the pre-market, an area where we can find some support will be 26.32. Again, guys, this is a monster of a stock. It's moving quite a bit. Some of these candles are $1 or $2 easily. The spread is actually it's a little bit all over the place. Be careful with the spread. You can see here you got some zeros on here as high as 20 cents for some time. So just make sure you take a look at the spread if you are going to take this trade, and also be mindful of your number of shares that you take on that stock. High of the pre-market on this one, guys, Upwork is at 12.46. Your low of your pre-market sitting at 11.45. Below that, you have some great levels down here. The last couple of days has been very strong. Previous day close sitting at 10.50, and then highs and lows got you covered on the way down. You have a moving average coming in here as well between 11.44 and the high of yesterday around 11.18. So I'm going to mark that down. Above this 12.46, if we zoom out here, here we go, right in this area late of last year, you do have a support area right on here, 12.85, and then another resistance over here at 13.88. So we got some levels here for Upwork this morning. Pre-market action is looking okay though. I like the pop of the last couple of days. This could be one that gets dropped to a possible pre-market action is looking all right, not all that great. Now SDC, is starting to put in a good pre-market activity. Hopefully they can get going here. High of our pre-market sitting at 1010. So we'll mark that down. Below that, we do have our low of the pre-market sitting at 950, and then below that we have our highs and lows previous day close for the last 2 trading days. Nice big pop yesterday here, guys. A good continuation hopefully today. Let's see if we can get back to this 1010 and retest that high of the pre-market. Above that, we have a beautiful nice gap down here back in March. So let's see if we can head towards closing that gap. The next level there will be 1082, which is the support for this day here, before we had this massive gap down here going all the way down from 12 11 bucks all the way down to 8. So starting to close this gap a little bit. We're right in the middle of this major gap that we had back in February. Let's see how this thing is going to react today. Again, the last couple of days has been very, very strong. We're looking for a continuation here on SDC. Here's AMC. So AMC very active yesterday, gapped up almost 40-50%, and then it gave all, half of it back. Still pretty strong given from where it had gapped up from. Today could be a good continuation. Pre-market action right now, you are getting a flow here in the pre-market action. So you are getting some kind of waves. Not the cleanest pre-market action we like to see, but they do have some movement. 707,000 shares traded right now. Price action sitting slightly below the most recent area of resistance, which is right over here around 553. High of the pre-market is sitting at 580. You do have your high from yesterday all the way at 640, and your previous day close and your low from yesterday's got some pretty good levels for AMC. So AMC's definitely got the volume. I think they're going to be active today, but I'm going to put them down as a possible because they gave me a hard time yesterday. So I don't know what's going to be their deal today. But if you guys see something in the chat that looks great, call it out. I'll definitely have it as a possible down here to take a look at if things got turn well for them. Also, if they hit our scanners, they hit our turbo breakup, turbo breakdown, we can definitely tune into them. Now, NCLH, this one here, guys, although we have the volume, I think this one could be pretty choppy today. It's just kind of stuck within this range. Yesterday, the same situation. Let's see how it actually traded yesterday. Was it good or bad? Actually, a good drop here if you were able to wait for this pullback and be patient when it loses the VWAP and gives you a nice big drop. But I'm going to wait for this one to hit our scanners for this one or CCL. So I'm going to move this one down here as a possible. I think I'm going to give the cruise lines a break today and the airlines. Let's see if that hits our scanners, and if it does, we can take a look at it. Let's go over to Tesla now. Tesla looks a lot more interesting. Look at this beautiful pre-market activity we're getting now. A nice flow here. And also what I like about Tesla is the daily. The last couple of days we've been banging our heads here at 700, 780. We got above that, and then we're banging our heads against 820, and now we're above 820. Hopefully trying to get towards our most recent high here of 870s, our next best technical level that we have on our daily. High of our pre-market right now being tested at 833 at the moment. So again, just a pretty strong stock. Towards the bottom, you got plenty of levels, highs and lows, previous day close. Got you covered with some good support. Now, let's just go to the left here. When's the last time we were in this range, right? So if you see, we have a nice gap here. We want to find a level in between here, but a move from 830 now to 870 is quite a bit. I think we need to have a level right on here. This is a good one, 853.91. And the reason for this level, if you draw a line right on there, you can see several days using that as resistance, support, opening and closing around that 850.53. So I like Tesla right now, testing that 833. Let's see what it does in a couple of minutes. Here is NVIDIA also hitting all-time highs right now. Had a strong day yesterday, so you do have some support towards the bottom here with your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. The only level I'm going to add here is 320 towards the bottom, and then the high of the pre-market sitting at a 326. So again, this stock has been able to come back nicely here and be at all-time high, right? Yeah, all-time high. So again, this is interesting. Usually when you are sitting at all-time high, you are going to attract volume. Let's hope we see that today from NVIDIA at the open. All right, let's look at Apple this morning. Apple, it is also trying to get going here. Has an active pre-market activity, not as far as volume, but as far as range. Look at the range it's been creating lately. So I like the way that it's been setting up. Also, has not put in a red day, maybe this one, in a very long time. Even on the gap downs, has found a way to end the day green as far as candles. So that's interesting on Apple here. So high of your pre-market sitting slightly at a 17.99. We'll mark that down. And then if we go over to the left here, we can see a nice area of consolidation where we have some pretty good resistance over at 324. This one here, guys, what I'm going to mark down, this is going to be a minor level. It's not a major level like this one where you clearly see that it's having a real tough time trying to get above this 324 and slightly above that. But this here, that is a major level, guys. When you see something being tested 2, 3, 4 times, you know, everybody knows, expect that, hey, when we get here again, we're going to have probably the same problem trying to get above this 324. But in here, you do have a minor level. And what that is, basically, you have several days opening and closing around that area. That means if we break out of this 317, we can possibly have some loss of momentum, some change in direction around that 320. You have several days literally opening and closing right at that 320 area. So let's keep that on there for Apple right now. Volume starting to increase at 400. mRNA giving a lot back right now, going red to green. So this has had a wild range this morning, the pre-market. We started up pretty nice here. Now when we went red, we came back green, consolidated above the VWAP, and now we're down in the red again. So trading pretty wild for the most part. High of our pre-market sitting all the way at 69.95. Our low sitting at 65. So again, right there you have a nice big range. And then for the most part towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last two trading days. But this type of stock where you have moved up so much in the last couple of days, you do want to look out for, you know, 64 for these whole dollar numbers, right? 64. You want to look out for 62. These are areas where you can have some change in direction, loss in momentum on this mRNA, which has been very, very strong over the last couple of days. All right, guys, we have a pretty decent list this morning. Let's see what else we have. Yeah, I think this will be it, man. I think this is what we have. We have some possibles down here: NCLH, AMC, DD, DDOG, BABA, and MAC and SPG. These two are, again, they're responsible for malls. If they start opening up the country, opening up malls, they can start bouncing back. But for the most part, they don't trade very well. But today could be their day. All right, Norm, anything else that you have on your end that we might have missed?
No, somebody did call out Eventbrite, EB, on YouTube. It doesn't have much volume right now, but it might be worth keeping an eye on while the day is open. So they had earnings last night that were just amazingly weak. Well, not amazingly weak. It's an event company, and nobody has events right now, so it's not surprising. Maybe it's already priced in, but it could move.
Yeah. What was the ticker again, Norm?
EB. Echo Bravo.
EB. Here we go. Yeah, this could be a good possible. Let's throw it on there. See what happens at the open. All right, guys, that is what we have. Let's take a look at what Peter's watching this morning. He has NVAX. Let's see what NVAX is doing, actually. So 4 million shares traded right now. mRNA is on here for him. DDOG is as well. Secondary, he has AMD, Microsoft, MGNX, Go, TLRY, and Upwork. Let's take a look at Microsoft. What is that doing today? They traded nice yesterday. Today, they're starting to get going. They're down. Actually, no, sorry. This is EB. Excuse me. Here we go. All right, so they're slightly up this morning, but again, big day yesterday. They traded very, very well yesterday. Could be a good continuation day for them today. I see why
check out
Peter is watching.
I know we already looked at it, but check out SDC.
Oh man, look at SDC above this 1010. Wow. Wow, that was a pre-market high, guys. Again, it started to look pretty good around this area. You can see the volume coming in, and now a nice big squeeze going in here. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on this one. Yeah. So I get the question a lot: why don't I use automatic levels? And this is the reason why. You can use them. No, nothing wrong with them at all. But this level here, I want to keep this on here. I don't want that disappearing and updating with the new levels is going to be up here now, right? I want that on there because this could be now a good support for the stock if it drops down, and I could just easily just mark down this new high here. You could do a combination of things. You can mark down where the price is at and also keep the automatic levels. But again, this is one of the reasons why I like to keep to do these levels manually when it comes to the highs and lows. All right, folks, that is what we have. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow at 8:30, and we'll see you also this afternoon for the close. So Brian, Mike, and Peter will be on there for you guys, and let's see what the day brings for us today. Hopefully, we get a better continuation today. That's what we need. Yesterday, continuation was not the greatest. Today, we need some of that this morning. Take care, guys. Stay safe.
Take care, guys. See you tomorrow.